Hi, I'm Alison Rendall. In this video today, we're going to be looking at the important step of finishing your Shetland wool garment once you've completed the knitting part. So I'm going to start with weaving in ends. Some regard weaving in ends as a tedious job, but I always just like to take my time, make it nice, and actually enjoy the rewards of having a finished project. So I would go around and tighten any knots that have become loose, and then I start weaving in the ends. I weave in both ends at a time, choosing 6 to 7 taut floats at the back of my knitting rather than loose ones, and I just hook into them, and this keeps it neat on the inside. You can choose to weave one end onto one side and one on the other side, but that is double the work, and for me I just weave in 2 ends on one side. Shetland wool then needs to be carefully washed, as it would otherwise have a tendency to shrink and felt if not handled properly. So just wash in a mild soap. I like to leave my item to soak for about 10 minutes rather than to agitate the fibres too aggressively in the water. Then I would rinse it twice in clean water, and then I squeeze out the water by wrapping it in a towel, as you can see here. It's also completely acceptable to use the washing machine and do a light spin, probably about 400 RPM. The wool then needs to be stretched, or the word we say in Shetland is dressed. So dressing involves pulling out your work until it is taut, but not so far that your work becomes overstretched, because that would ultimately break the fibre. So I like to dress hats on an upside down baking bowl, as you can see, and I just leave them to dry. You can also use dinner plates for berets. Everything else is dressed on wooden boards. I have a large collection of sock boards, glove and mitten boards, scarf boards in all sizes from child to adult, as well as jumper boards that are adjustable in size. These boards were often made by family members in the past, but nowadays it is possible to buy boarding equipment from many of the Shetland wool suppliers. Alternately, you can actually make your own from thin plywood, or you can use thick cardboard covered in cling film. Some people like to use a blocking mat and pins, and that's also absolutely fine. Either way, dressing is an important process. As well as stretching the item and fluffing up the fibres, it flattens and corrects uneven stitches, transforming your work to become smooth and fabric-like. It also ensures that any curling up of the rib disappears. Shetland wool is largely self-cleaning, so not much washing is required. Actually, for a Gansey, once or twice a year is plenty. So I hope you found this short video helpful today, talking about finishing Shetland wool. So this subject and many more about Shetland knitting is covered in my book, Fair Isle Knitting Tradition.